Hello, good to see you again. Welcome to Block 1, Solving Problems with Addition and Subtraction. Lesson 11. I'll share my screen. So in your previous lesson, you learned how to apply your knowledge to interpret different tables that you would find in real life and in maths. So you learned about calendars, you learned about mileage charts, you learned about two-way tables, and you learned about train timetables. So these are all really important things you should know. You would see it in maths and you'll see it in real life. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on learning about frequency trees. You're wondering, what's that? You've actually seen one before. If you've seen something called path-hole models, which we have discussed in our term one lessons, in one of our term one lesson. But before we start, I would like to ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and click on the notification bell so that whenever new videos are released, you'll be notified. By doing this, you'll help us grow our mission to educate the global population of children who may not have access to high quality maths education because of economic circumstances. Thank you. I would like you to do the retrieval practice questions in 3 minutes. So pause the video and answer the retrieval practice questions in 3 minutes. All right, assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. So this path-hole model, and you're going to see something that looks like this in this lesson when we talk about frequency trees. This path-hole model, we see that there is 34 here at the base and another 120 on the right-hand side. So these two parts should make the whole. So we just need to add them. So you can see now that you can make use of your knowledge of addition of integers, which we learned in our lesson, in our previous lesson. Here we have this path-hole model. Here is 200, there is 6. We know that we need a value here that we should add to 206 so that we can get to 256. That value has to be 50. So another way to find that out is by adding 200 to 6 and then subtract 206 from 256 so that you can get that value, because all of these add up or sum up to give us this. Next, we're asked to complete the missing values in the table. So this is to help you recall what you learned in our previous lesson about two-way tables. So I think the one that is easiest to start with, we can start with this one. We can start with this one because remember what we said. You always start from the column or the row that has just one value missing. Here, we just have one value missing, right? So we can simply add the locker and no locker numbers to get the total number of year 7 students. And then here, we already have the total. We do not have this number here. So to get this number, we just need to subtract 88 from 190. And that gives us 102. Okay, let's do some new learning. Here, we're given a two-way table, and we're required to extract information from this table to complete this frequency tree. So this is what we call a frequency tree. So a frequency tree is like an extended path-hole model. So you know how path-hole model works. The frequency tree is used to represent data in a path-hole model format, but it's an extended version of that. So now let's start to extract some information. So we know that this here represents, you can see it's on the arm of the year 7. So that must represent the total number of year 7 students. So we're going to put 140 there. Here represents the total, this arm here represents the total for year 8 students. So we're going to put 150 there. Then when we look at year 7, there are some that completed homework and some did not complete homework. So if you look at your data, you would see that those who completed homework are these, 126. So you can see it from the data. That matches with that and year 7 there. So we put 126 there. Now, those who did not complete homework is obviously 14. So we put our value there. We go to the other parts of the table to start to complete the frequency tree. So those year 8 who completed homework are 107. You can see it from the table. So we put it on the frequency tree. And those who did not complete, those year 8 students who did not complete homework are 43. Now, what do we do to fill this bit here? So the far left part. Now, you can remember that in our path-hole model, if we were to make this to stand on the two bases, 150 and 140, we know these two will have to add up to that. So our value should be 290. So this is your very first frequency tree. So you now know how we complete frequency tree from a two-way table. Let's look at another example. Sometimes you'll be given a complete frequency tree, but you'll be asked some questions about it. So you should be able to interpret or read the frequency tree. So here is the first one. You're told, find the total number of students who completed their homework. Now you can see, going down the year 7 arm, you can see 126 students completed homework for year 7, and year 8, you can see that 107. So to find the total number of students who completed their homework is 233. So 126 plus 107, which is 233. You have done some learning. It's now time for you to practice. So pause the video and answer question 1 in 4 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 1, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. Okay, so these are path-hole models that we could just simply complete. So mark your work, celebrate your success. I'm sure you did very well. So be proud of yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Well done. Question 2. Pause the video and answer question 2 in 4 minutes. So here you're required to use the table to complete the frequency tree and then to answer some questions about it. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. So here, using the table to complete the frequency tree, we can see that men with no glasses corresponds with men, no glasses, which is this one, so 78, right? Number of women is the total, so you can see it there. So number of women is the total. All right, so this is, fairly straightforward. And then that's the answer. Here for B, you're asked, find the difference between the total number of people who wear glasses and the total number of people who do not wear glasses. So again, you look at those who wear glasses and those who do not wear glasses, and then you add them up. Yeah, so you add all of them because they wear glasses and they do not wear glasses. That's 96. Okay, let's move on. A new example. Now, so we're moving to the other part of the lesson now, where you're going to, broadening your understanding, deepening your understanding to do more practice. So sometimes we'll be given questions in words and we'll be required to use the information from the question to fill a frequency tree. Here is this one. There are 50 plastic triangles and squares in a bag. So that tells us straight away that that number has to be there because this end here is for squares and that's for triangles. So if they're giving us the total number of the shapes, then 50 has to be there. Next, we're told all of the shapes are red or green. That's great, good information. Next, we're told there are 23 triangles. Well, that one has to go down that leg for triangles. So there are 23 triangles. 12 of these squares are red. 12 of these squares are red. So we'll go down. But before we do that, if 23 triangles are out of 50, if we have 23 triangles out of 50, to get the number here, we just do 50 minus 23, which is 27. Next, we're told 12 of these squares are red. So we go down the leg for squares and down the red leg, that's 12. Of course, if we know this is 12, then that should be 27 subtract 12, which is 15. Now, how do we complete this other bit here? Now, take note that if we are told that there are 24 green shapes, right? Okay, so you're thinking, all right, if there are 24 green shapes, we know that there are only two shapes here, which are triangles and then squares, right? So if there are 24, it means 15 plus something we don't know is equal to 24. So to get that number, we'll have to do 24 minus 15. So because the total number of green shapes are 24, so we'll do 24 minus 15 to give us 9. Okay, now we know that is 9. To get the number of reds, we just do 23 minus 9 to give us red, okay, which is 14. All right, you've done some practice. It's time for you to answer question 3. So pause the video and answer question 3 in 2 minutes. You should be able to do it in 2 minutes. All right, assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 3, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So here we're told 50 students are asked if they like school dinners. That goes there. 28 of the students were girls. You put it there. So if 28 are girls, to get the other one for boys, you just do 50 minus 28. Next, you're told 17 girls said they liked school dinners. So 17 like school dinners. So you go down the leg for girls and down the end leg for like, you put 17. If that's 17, then that should be 11. So you do 28 minus 17. Next, you're told, and 15 boys said they disliked school dinners. So dislike, down the arm for boys and down the arm for dislike, 15. So to get that number there, you do 22 minus 15, which is 7. All right, pause the video and answer question 4 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 4, here are the answers. So here you're just giving the questions in words. You're required to use the information to complete the frequency tree labeling the branches. So you draw the frequency tree and then you complete it. Okay, and that's what it should look like. Yeah. Pause the video and answer question 5 in 3 minutes. All right, assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. So sometimes your frequency tree could have 3 legs like this. So you can see 200 people were choosing to be a test audience for a new film. They had to grade the film as A, good, B, okay, C, poor. All right, so that gives you your 3 legs. All right, and then you're giving further information. So you just use that information to complete the frequency tree. That brings us to the end of our lesson. So what have we learned so far? So we have learned that frequency tree is just an extended version of the path-hole model, which you already know. It is one of the ways of representing data. So we extended our learning from what we already know about two-way tables, and we use that information to complete a frequency tree. Really well done for sticking around and for learning. For you can feel that you're getting a lot better in maths. So well done. Keep up the good work. Until next time, take really good care of yourself. Bye bye.